Mt. GOX has released $3.2 billion worth of Bitcoin to those that had lost it when that collapsed back in the past. So that is something that is weighing heavily on Bitcoin right now. IREN has some big news. I've got a theory here about what's going on with the Bitcoin price of late, aside from this Mt. GOX news. Day 2 of Ethereum ETFs today. We'll take a look at Ethereum as well. And then we're going to take a look at the Bitcoin miners here, as well as something that I bought yesterday. Okay, so Mt. GOX sees $3.2 billion of Bitcoin outflows in just 2 hours. That's significant. Anyways, this was over 47,500 Bitcoin going out to exchanges. People are fearful that that is going to be a big sell-off for Bitcoin. I, as well as quite a lot of people in this space, aren't too concerned about this, mostly because these were people that bought Bitcoin originally, like the early investors in Bitcoin. I think they understand crypto a little better than to just sell it the moment they get it. But we'll see. That is causing some turmoil in the market. IREN here increased their power capacity from 600 megawatts to 750 megawatts, so that's good. I think we'll probably see a bump in IREN today. They tend to come out with good news when after a couple of bad days. It's almost as if they sit on that good news until the opportune moment. They seem pretty shrewd in that remark, and I do like that. I do appreciate that from them. Unlike some of the other miners that tend to just have nothing good to say. they don't like keeping rallies going or stopping them with good news. IREN seems to be pretty good at providing the news at the very moment it is needed. So that's interesting there. And something we'll look at here in a moment. All right, first of all, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is up 0.9% today. We are looking, I don't love this formation actually that it's making right now, especially since this was such a small upward move. We could end up seeing something like a head and shoulders out of this. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen right now, but I am seeing a shoulder, a head, and if we come only up to like 67,000 and fail, I'd be looking at another shoulder here, neckline at about 64,000, so about 64,000, 63.9, somewhere in there, and then we come right back down into 58,000 if that were to be the case. Now it's way too early to call that, but I already don't like the formation I'm seeing here right now. That's all I'm saying. Now if we break out above 68.5, then I'd be like, yeah, great, awesome, cool, that was nothing to be concerned about. But I am watching that right now. And one of the theories I have, and I think I mentioned this before, was that I think Bitcoin is kind of holding its breath in its price action right now, waiting for Saturday. And Saturday is the Bitcoin convention in Nashville. We will be having a lot of prominent speakers, one of which the former president, who is expected to announce something in terms of his intentions to use Bitcoin as some sort of reserve currency. That's super interesting. And if he is to say anything like that, even with no plan whatsoever, just saying it, we could see Bitcoin flying all the way up into the $70,000 range once more. Another thing here politically, the other camp, the other side of the politics, not the former president, they are also softening on crypto now because I think they realize that they probably need those crypto voters to vote for them in order to win. So we'll be seeing some flip-floppy opinions here and there coming through November here. Now let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum, the next day 2 of Ethereum ETF, and we are flat. Okay, we're down 0.46%. We are still in this bull flag here. We need to get above, honestly, we need to get above 3,500 to really start looking like we're breaking this bull flag to the upside, where we would meet, resistance at about 3,800 from there, possibly going even a little bit higher. But it's consolidating still right there. Okay, let's get into some miners. All right, yesterday, Mara dropped 9.6%. Is this dilution? Is this something else? I don't know, but we came all the way down to 2165, where we closed yesterday. Pre-market, we're up a little bit. We came back into structure. So we came back into structure, and that's not ideal. We really didn't want to see Mara go back into structure, and it has. So I'm holding off on going long on Mara right now, just to see where it goes. It might come all the way back down to that 1980 level. It might stop, right here at like $21 and turn back around. I'm not certain yet, so I am waiting on that. I was going to go long around $23 or so, but I decided to wait and see, and it came down a lot further. So I'm glad that I did that, but I am in a position now where I'm thinking, so we're out of this descending channel to the downside. That could be a false break. That's what I'm kind of hoping it is. I'm hoping it's a false break. And if we get back above the midline of this descending channel here, then I might be looking at it to go up once more on that. Let's take a look at Riot. There was actually some interesting news yesterday between Riot and Bitfarms. They had a hearing in Canada yesterday where Riot was accusing Bitfarms of, not fulfilling their duties as, having problems with their board, not fulfilling their duties to shareholders, things like that. There has been no update on that. So I'm not sure Riot got the ruling that they wanted, because by the way that they have been acting, that they would have been gone online and gloated about that almost immediately. So I don't think Riot got the outcome that they wanted. And I think it probably was ruled in favor of Bitfarms. And as we know, with Bitfarms, they tend to be a little more quiet about things. They're a little more reserved, more than Riot are by a long shot. So I'm kind of thinking that the ruling likely leaned in favor of Bitfarms, and we'll see if that comes out here in the next few days and how Bitfarms responds to that. But Riot did make a purchase. Riot purchased block mining, so they are now expanding their total potential power capacity. I don't know why Riot got itself wrapped up in all this drama with Bitfarms when there are other miners for them to be purchasing out there, or maybe I'm not sure why they did that. It was kind of a waste of their time and their money, and just in every way. Other than buying the stock of Bitfarms, which I think was probably a good decision for them, I think trying to take them over was a waste of their time. Anyways, they made an acquisition, and how are they faring in the pre-market? They're up. They're barely up. So unlike Mara, Riot did come down yesterday as well. They came down 5.3%, but they did not re-enter their structure to the left here. They still are above their structure, so they are actually looking more bullish than Mara on the chart right now for Riot. Pretty cool. And I'll be keeping my eyes on that. I do still have the Riot the small amount of Riot that I had before. I'm still waiting for that to turn green on me. And that's all. Let's take a look at BitDigital. BitDigital bucked the trend yesterday. It was actually up 2.4%. It is actually up a little bit in the pre-market as well. Like I said before, as long as BitDigital stays between this red line here on the ATR and the yellow line here on the ATR, between the red and the yellow lines on the ATR, it's going to continue climbing up. And I think that it has the potential to get back up to that $5 range, maybe even take out this previous high here from the left, which was in January, and get above that a little bit, maybe just a little bit. Maybe it only goes up to 540 or something, or 555, somewhere in that range, and then starts coming back down. But as long as it's between the red and the yellow lines on the ATR bands here, I am expecting it to continue to chug its way up. Let's take a look at Bitfarms. How did Bitfarms do yesterday? It came down 6.25%. We came down to 270. Honestly, I'm not worried about Bitfarms as long as it is above 250. If it gets below 250, then I'll start getting concerned about this formation here being something of a double top. And I've shown this to you before. Top, midline's about 250. If we get below that, that's when I'll be concerned. Above 250, I'm not super concerned about this. I would like to see the next upswing get above 315, which would be above this height here on July 17th. If that fails, then I'd be concerned about Bitfarms in that respect. Okay, let's take a look at IREN. IREN is actually up. It's up to 1122. Remember though, I said if it opens today below 1126, and it closes below 1126. So if it doesn't go above 1126 or tap 1126 today, I'd be looking for it to come down further, even with this good news. So the good news wasn't good enough to send it flying high or anything. It is still below the midline of the double top formation here. If it opens here and doesn't charge up and go above 1126, if it can't do that, then I'll be concerned. Now it might base around 1126 and continue to crawl back up towards this yellow line. I'll be bullish on it again when it gets above this yellow line here, which is currently at 1331. Then I'd flip bullish, but until then, I am looking at it potentially coming back down to $9, even a little bit lower than $9, potentially with $8 being the lowest low that it could potentially reach. Now, I'm not saying it will get to $8. I'm saying that is the lowest area I think it would get before it would reverse pretty hard if it got there. Now, like I said, it is below the midline on the double top here. It is looking bearish, even with this good news. So we'll see what happens today to determine if it is actually going to break this thing or not. Let's take a look at CORZ. That isn't how you spell CORZ. Let's take a look at CORZ. CORZ charged up yesterday. Oh, no, it was down 1.18%. Everything was down except BitDigital. But in the morning, pre-market is up a little bit. It's still just chugging along in this ascending channel here. I'm not concerned about it until it breaks that, which is that yellow line. If it breaks that yellow line, we could be looking at it coming down to about $8 as well. take a look at WULF. How's WULF doing? Is it loading? Loading. WULF, yeah, WULF, same thing as like CORZ and Bit Digital. It's sort of just crawling around. It was down 3.5% yesterday, and it's just kind of like scooching on up again. I did get asked about CIFR yesterday. I'm not going to cover it regularly anymore since they're trying to sell themselves. But since someone asked, I will look at CIFR. CIFR is kind of hitting, yeah, it's doing, yeah, it's going to come down to 591. It's going to hang out around $6. I don't think we're going to see tons and tons of movement out of CIFR until someone makes a bid on this company, and then we'll get an idea of what other companies think it's worth, and then we'll see it like gravitate towards that price, maybe surpass it a little bit if retail investors don't feel as though that that was a valid offer, like with Bitfarms, or if they do think it's a valid offer, we might just see it kind of hang out in that area for the time being. For now, I think it's going to be kind of sideways to possibly down a bit until we get an offer from someone somewhere, or hopefully they don't go bankrupt. I hope that's not why they're trying to sell themselves. And that's it for the miners today. Yes, so yesterday I bought something. Yesterday I went long on IWM, except I didn't go long on IWM. I went long on TNA, which is the triple leverage of IWM. So I thought that this 5% pullback was sufficient from July 17th until the 19th. That 4.57%, 5% pullback, I thought that was sufficient. It seems to have been. I think we'll probably make a run at least for this high before coming down. Now, if that fails, then I'll be exiting that position. But I actually went with TNA, and honestly, I bought options. I bought call options out to December for this, because honestly, the options were about the same price as buying out to December for the IWM, and this is triple leveraged, so it's even like it's just cranking the leverage to 11 here. Honestly, I don't recommend it, but it is what I did. And of course, none of this is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. It's simply what I'm doing with my portfolio and the charts as I see them. Anyways, also, one last bit of news. Tesla had a big fallout yesterday. The earnings for Tesla were just atrocious, apparently, because it is down 9.65% today. I think in after hours and pre-market, it was probably down even lower, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. We're just going to talk about where it opened today. Robotaxi event got pushed back to October. Investors didn't like that. There were some concerns about the earnings per share. Investors didn't like that. There is talk of potential ends to the tax credits for EVs, especially if there is a Trump presidency coming in. So that is a headwind for Tesla as well. So they're just kind of running into all kinds of roadblocks right now. And they are likely coming back down to structures, maybe even back down to $200 after that kind of failure of the earnings call here yesterday. And anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description as well as in the channel bio, and have a profitable day.